Okay, hi, this is Miss Waddle, otherwise known as Victoria, I guess, up here. And I want to show you how to use our school's general database, the Chaffey High General Database, which is a Gale Student Resources and Context. And what I'd like to do is just tell you first how to find it online. And I think we link it in a few places. We have on different library web pages. Probably an easy place to find it is right here at School Library Lady. And it's linked in two places there. Here where it says research databases, you could click on that and get there. And also just kind of a little bit further down the page, you look here where it says outside resources, it says Chaffey High Databases, Student Resources and Context, Opposing Viewpoints, and Gale Virtual Reference Library. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it takes me to the info track page, which is where I have to put in my password. And actually, I'm not allowed to post the password online or tell you what it is. But we certainly tell you at school. Your teacher can tell you. It's very, very easy to remember. So we're going to put that password in, and up comes our three databases. The first one, this Gale Virtual Reference Library, are just books that are online, very specific subjects, not a large number of them. And so we would have to be looking for a very specific thing in order to use those medical books, books on drug abuse, things like that. The other one that we're not going to use today is the Opposing Viewpoints in Context. And this is a great database if you are doing a pro-con paper, a controversial issue paper, a debate, participating in debate, great stuff. What I'd like to show you is the Student Resources in Context. And if you understand how to use this, you'll be able to do the Opposing Viewpoints in Context as well, because they're from the same company and the format is the same, okay? So, but the Student Resources in Context has more information on lots of general topics. So for any course, if you need your math teacher wanted you to do a biography of a mathematician, or you needed something for science or history or English, this would be the place to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on Student Resources in Context and bring that up. And here's our home page. You can see on the home page, there are a couple of ways that you can search. First of all, it should be evident that there's a search bar up here at the top, up to the right, and we can add in our search terms here. But we can also kind of just cruise down the page itself if we didn't know exactly what we wanted to do. The home page gives some like overview articles, and you can see here's some overview areas or topics. Let's look down here to the one that says social issues. And you can see that gives just 3 general social issue topics. These are 3 highly interesting, often used topics, but they're not all the social issue topics. And so over here where it says view all, you can see more if you'd like. So let's say if we click on view all, and you can see all of a sudden here come up a lot more topics: genocide, global warming, gun control, etc. Even though this says view all, it really isn't all of the social issue topics. It's just the ones that they have like a general background article on. And so there's even a lot more than this. So I'm going to go back home. And I'm going to say to use these kind of things, like I say, if you want to do this, let's say my topic of my paper, I'm doing this for my U.S. history class, and it's racism. But racism's a really general topic, and I'm going to need something more specific, or I'm not going to be able to finish my paper unless I plan to write like a 5,000-page book. Okay, so I click on racism, and I can see that there is an overview of racism. Again, this has the overview topic, which is here. And if you want to read that and click on view more, you could. Also notice that on this page, it shows you some other kinds of things that are offered. It shows you all sorts of things, that there is featured content and then types of content, reference articles, primary sources, case overviews, which are legal cases, critical essays where somebody might say whether this is a good thing or bad thing. Sometimes critical essays are just about books, like a book review. This is a good book, this is a bad book. Magazine articles, news articles, plot summaries of novels, academic journals, websites, videos, images, audio, and other related topics. Those are all of the things that are offered on the Student Resources in Context. Okay, you can see here, if we go down, we see again, reference articles about racism. There are 3 that are given, but notice in the view all, there are 317 reference articles. And so there are quite a few more. And this is the case all the way down. You can see that the primary sources, there are 3, but there are actually 12. on it goes. Well, this I think is a really fun way to research. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, it's fun to go into overview and just start clicking through and reading. I know sometimes students don't want to spend the time to do that, but you learn a lot of really interesting things that are kind of outside of the box. And you might even decide on your research based on what you see by clicking through. But if you are in a bigger hurry than that, and you already know what your topic is, you kind of have settled on a more specific topic, then it might be good to come up here to the top and just go into the search bar. Now, let's say again that I am working out of my U.S. history class, and I'm looking more at racism, but I want to look more specifically at the civil rights movement, and I'm looking in the 1960s because that was an interesting thing that my teacher talked about, kind of got me interested in it. And the teacher had mentioned Black power. And so I am going to go ahead and just type in the term Black power. And when I do that, you can see several things come up and giving us some background and on some books about Black power, but also here it just says Black power movement. Well, that was what my teacher said, kind of mentioned. That's what I wrote down in my notes. So I'm thinking, okay, that is what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to bring up the information about the Black power movement. Okay, let's see if I can search that. Okay, and so I'm going back here for the Black Power movement. And again, if you look over here where it says everything, this shows you what all comes up. Notice there are not quite as many things as we saw before. For example, you can see here that there are no websites. Before we had websites connected. Now, under this particular topic, there are none. But we do have all sorts of things. We have reference images, primary sources, news, etc., etc. Let me just say something about a couple of these. You probably know what most of these things are, but I want to settle here on academic journals. Academic journals are written for research, and they're written at a college level, a 12th grade reading level and up. To read an academic journal, you can learn a lot of really good information if you understand the article, and that is always the issue. Academic journals, sometimes if you're reading at grade level, 12th grade level or up, they are easy to understand. Sometimes you can't understand them at all. For example, let's say you're doing a research paper in your science class, and you have a really specific scientific topic, and you look it up. Well, the article that you find is like one person with a PhD who's really talking to an audience of other people who have a PhD in the exact same specific scientific topic. And you're looking at the article and you're thinking, I have absolutely no idea what this person is talking about. Then you would want to back out of the academic article. Sometimes teachers will ask you to get an article that's peer reviewed. Academic articles, academic journals are peer reviewed. And so that is the place that you would go if that's what the teacher was requesting. Okay. Generally speaking, if you don't know anything about the topic you're about to research, what you want are these reference articles. Okay. So it's 56 reference articles. They show the top 3 here. Reference articles are general overviews that give you background on the subject. They're the smart place to go and start if you don't know something about the subject already. Okay. I want to also mention something about the images. Let's go ahead and just click on images for a second here. And you see it says there's 4 images. There are actually really only 3. If you look at them, you can see that these 2 are the same. And you might ask yourself, well, why would I even look at images? Say if I need to put some pictures in my paper, or I'm making a presentation, a PowerPoint or Prezi for the class, and I can get thousands of images on Google Images. Why would I look in the database for image? Well, one reason that I would do it is because if the teacher's asking you to do things correctly, your teacher will ask you to cite your images in the same way that you have to make a works cited page at the end of a research paper or at the end of a presentation, and you have to cite all the articles and websites and books that you used. You also have to cite all the images you used. It's really hard sometimes with the Google Images. You have no idea where the thing came from in the first place. It's very hard to track back, and you waste a lot of time. So if you only need a couple of images and you like the ones that are there, then you could just use one like this. It'll give you the citation, and I'm going to highlight the citation right here just so that it's easy to see. This is an MLA 7th edition citation, which is what is required for you guys. You highlight it, you copy it, you paste it into your works cited page when you use the when you use the image. I noticed too, this image is Stokely Carmichael, and it says that he was an influential figure in the Black Power movement. Now, I don't remember hearing anything about him in my class, but since he was an influential person in the Black Power movement, I don't want to highlight this. Let's see. I want to copy it. I'm going to go ahead and go back out of images, and I'm going to go back to my search results. all my results, and I'm back to my everything again. But I want to search only within those results. And that's why I'm going here to this search bar. I'm going to paste in the name Stokely Carmichael. And yeah, that's the one I want, instead of searching up here, because this will go through the whole database. This is only going to go through the information I have now on the Black Power movement. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and research and see if I can find a good article. Again, I find several items. Now it's been reduced a little bit. Notice before there were 50 some odd reference book articles. Now there are 26 that are either about Stokely Carmichael or mention him. And so I have narrowed my research a little bit. As I look down through this, let's see, I like, well, here. My history teacher has asked me to get a primary source, and there happens to be one here, so it's my lucky day, I guess. And I want to see this. A primary source is something that is directly from the time period. It's not like somebody's talking about it, but it's somebody who's actually living or experiencing or was a part of it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click and see what I can find. When I click on this, I see that my primary source is called Black Power Speech, July 28th, 1966. So it's a speech. Now, I know it's a speech because right here it says Black Power Speech. But if that wasn't the title of it, I could still figure out that it was a speech by coming over here to the right. Over on the right, this always tells you what you're looking at. So this is a speech. It might say letter to the editor, book review, article, audio. It'll tell you exactly what it is. Obituary. You will know what you're looking at. It's handy to look at this because it can save you a lot of time. You don't want to click into something that you know isn't going to do you any good, and this will give you a hint. Okay, also over here to the left of the title is the reading level. If I click on or just look at or hover over this little gold box square, it says the content level is written at the intermediate level. Now for high school students, intermediate level should be okay. You should be able to read at that level. If you can't, there is also a basic level, and you can look for articles in that. It'll be like a little circle, like a green circle, and it'll say basic level. And there's also the advanced level, which like all of the academic journals are at the advanced level, and that is like a red triangle, and when you hover over it, it'll say advanced level. So I know this is basically at my reading level, and I know it's a speech, and I know that it's a primary source. And so this is something that I think I want to look into. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it. Excuse me. And then I see that my speech comes up, the whole speech. Now, there are several things that I can do with this, so I want you guys to notice that there's this toolbar over here on the right, and this can be very handy. We don't have time to go over all the tools, but I want to show you a couple that are really, really good. One is just a citation tool. I don't use this. I'm going to show you why, but I just want to show you that it's there because it is pretty handy if you need your citation. If I click on it, it says that this is the MLA 7th edition, is the automatic citation, and that's what you have to use, so you don't have to change anything. And then here's the citation right here. It's this one right here. Okay, this document URL, the rest of this stuff you don't need. If you want, you could download this to save it to your computer, and if your school uses anything like EasyBib, which we're hoping to use in the future, you could export it to that. I don't do this. I don't download the citation to my computer because I think it's a little handier to do something else. And I want to show you. Let's just say I read this speech. This Black Power speech is really good, and I know that I can use it in my presentation or my paper. So once I'm done with it, I can see that the source citation is also at the bottom of the article. So I am just going to highlight it, and I'm actually going to copy that and paste it too. And I would do that if it would just let me. Hold on 1 second here. Let's try again. Okay, so I copy it. And then before this, when I start my research, I went ahead and made a Word document. And my Word document is a works cited page. And so I've gone in and I've created a folder, for my US history class. And then I created another subfolder that says like my race relations research paper. And then I go ahead and I make a works cited page, and I name my works cited page race relations works cited page so that I know what I have. And then any article I'm going to use, I just go ahead and paste the citation in. Okay. Now you will have to later put the citations in alphabetical order, things like that, but that's not a big deal. You want to just kind of keep them all, you're going to use them. That's just a handy way of doing things, I think, probably easier even than downloading them and trying to put them all together later. Okay, another thing that's super handy here is a lot of times teachers will tell you that you have to annotate your article, that you have to do something with it. And so what you can do here, there is a thing for highlighting and taking notes, okay? Let's just say I'm going to highlight and take some notes. So let's say I read my article and I get down here and I really like this paragraph because it's talking about his concept of what riots are, what the white press say riots are versus what Black people think riots are or not. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this because I want to keep that in mind. It's going to give me several colors. And the reason for that is your teacher might ask you to do different things in different colors. I know their teachers, when you're highlighting articles, will say like the topics have to be in yellow and then find like three things that back up that topic statement and make them green. Okay. So if you have a teacher who does that, and then you can make different colors, that'd be great. Okay. For right now, this is my yellow one. I'm done. Let's say also I want to go, the extremists in this country are white. So I'm going to go through this. We have to define our own ethic. And I think this is an interesting thing to say. And so I, again, am going to highlight that because I think it's an important topic. Now, the teacher wants to know, why am I highlighting this? And so there's also the object. I can click on notes. So I click on notes and I add a note here. And I don't know, let's say compare to events in Ferguson, Missouri. Okay. So there's a reason why I want to do this. So I'm going to save that note. Okay. Now I have that highlighted and a note. Okay. You can see here that I have two highlights and a note. And if I click on this, it'll show me what I highlighted and what I noted. So I can always check back through and see what I've done. In addition to that, let's say my teacher wants to see this. My teacher wants this emailed to her, or she wants me to post it as a assignment on turnitin.com or something like that. So what I'm going to do then is, after I highlight everything on the speech, and I'm going to download it. Okay. So when I click on download, I'm going to change the format to PDF and I'm going to download it. Okay. Once I get that downloaded, I'm going to have to pick something. Let's pick not humor. Let's pick documents, U.S. history, and I'm going to go into the U.S. history folder, and I'm just going to, well, I would never do this, just leave it called download, but for right now, let's just say it's our download, so let's save it. Okay, and then let's have a little look at it. I wanted to show you, it looks like it's the whole article, so the teacher will see the article, and the teacher will see what you highlighted. But at the end of the article, and I think this is very nice for the teacher, this is the end of the article here. It'll always add an extra page, and the extra page will show the text. It shows the color that you highlighted, and then it will also show what you highlighted, and at the end, it'll show you what you left as notes. So all of that is pretty handy stuff for your teacher and for assignments, for annotating articles. So that's very, very cool as well. Okay. So those are all things that I would do with the article.